Welcome to a first OnSinch webinar in 2026, and it's very special. Last year and our last couple of webinars were more focused on features we already had and the best practice and combination of them. And today I'm happy that I can show you our new function for rate lists. It's a feature that our amazing development team has been working on for past few months. And today I will show you how the feature looks, how it will work, so you can imagine your future in rate lists in OnSinch. Let me now then put my presentation on, because this feature calls for a little bit of background information. So today, our agenda would be first a couple of information about the feature, introduction. I will introduce you to a terminology that will be used. The second part will be focusing on the actions. So I will show you a demo with our rate list setup. We will create together sample rate list. And then our next part would be focusing on action. So how the rate list works in action when we are scheduling the jobs, closing them, and what is new in that area. And last, we will have some updates about our current status with this feature and FAQ. So let's dive in that. So what is our new rate list feature? So it's a new rate list solution that will cover completely all your rates towards staff members and clients. It will automatically calculate all the rates based on your own logic. So you'll be very flexible in setting up what is important to you when it comes to calculating your rates. And this feature will also replace old wage list and price list, feature effects, and some of the tags. Why we are doing this feature, why we are working on it, and basically our goal is to introduce new solution that will be much more flexible than our existing system, that will allow you to handle complex and complicated rates easily. We also wanted to unify and centralize the rates in one place, as now they are not very in the same place, so we wanted to put it all together. We wanted also to reduce manual changes and workarounds as much as possible. Another sub-goal of it is to enhance the data structure, so how the data from rates are handled and shown in exports and API integration, because connecting is the key these days. So this new rate lists are also covering this transition of data smoothly. And last important thing is that this feature, in a way that it's structured and developed and programmed, allow us to build on that on the future. So we are not only solving the things we know that could be better now, but we are also preparing for the future and future changes that might be needed. So let's take a look at what will be new with this new function. With the new rate list, once they are activated in your system, there will be completely new place in the settings. So as I mentioned, it will be centralized place for all your rates, including transport. You will have option to create unlimited wage lists and rate lists and use them as you need. Within these rate lists, you will have option to have your own conditions and combination of them. So you will no longer be tied just to professions, ratings, or work hours or companies. If you're using exports and some API integration, this will change as well. And what will also change is a tags, setup of tags, of those tags that are somehow affecting the rates. On the other side, there are some things that will stay the same. So with this new rate list, our main core logic, how the rates are calculated, will still be the same. And that's that the rate is calculated based on one attendance. So each staff member is on the shift, they work, you close the shift, and the rate is calculated based on this new rate list, but it's still tied to the attendance or transport attendants. Also, what stays the same is that you create a set of rules, and the staff member with their specific attendance and their profile fall into some of the logic. So you are creating, let's say, groups, and the staff members are in these groups. You are not setting up rate per person. Another thing that will stay the same are requirements that can have set prices and wages. What is also not changing that OnSinch is not with this feature changing or expiring to be payroll or accountant system. It's still source of data for payroll and accounting that's done outside of OnSinch. But as I was mentioning, the way how the data will be exported to CSV files or APIs will help you in this process as well. And payout feature and invoice management will also stay the same. So the rate lists are affecting how the rate is calculated. But for example, when you then go and pay staff members or process the payouts, this option will still stay the same. Now, what does it mean for you, or what will mean for you in the future is that you can start using the new rate lists at your pace when it's good for you, when it makes sense in a time-wise, season-wise, and also the capacity. Both systems, the existing rate lists and this new rate list, will be available for use side by side in one system. So you can have long transition period, and you can try the rate list with the new jobs, and then you can transition to the full operation with the new rate list at your own pace. So there's no rush. And of course, we will provide you support from our side. We are now working on documentation and supporting materials. And of course, the migration itself, you will not be in that alone. So it will be very individually based, because the migration is a good opportunity to talk about what you are now using, how the rates are working with you. Maybe you have some needs and you are thinking about some changes. So we will consult with you all of this and think of the best solution with the new rate lists. Now, before we jump into demo, I would like to show you one last slide, and there will be what is the main brick of the rate list, and that's a rate rule. So this is how the rate rule looks. It consists of 4 elements. First element is condition. So that's basically condition that must be met in order for the rate to calculate. In my case, in this sample, it's a profession. So I'm focusing on stagehand professions and their rate. Second element of the rule is unit. This is a part of staff members' work I want to calculate. So these are work hours you already know, or flat fees if you are using. And with this new rate list, it will be much more type of units you can use. Third line or third element of the rule is a rate. That's the financial value. So something per hour, flat fee, or percentage of something. And the fourth line is a component. And that's basically how we call the rate. So with this new system, you'll be also able to create your own titles. If you are calling your base rate basic, standard, you can create your own custom name for the whole system. And together, this rule, if it is applied, it calculates the final rate. So we can put it into this sentence. So if the condition is met, then for every unit, we calculate the rate and we call it everywhere a component. In my example, if the position I'm looking at, I'm calculating is a stagehand, then for every work hour, I calculate 20 per hour and I call it the base. So this is a core of the rate list. That's the rule. And in the rate list, you can have as many rules as you need. So this is just for the introduction, so you kind of see the base terms that will be your friends once we launch the rate list in your system. So conditions, units, rates, and components. And now let's move to a practical part and let's check the demo. So I am now in my OnSinch demo, and let's take a look at how the rate list looks in the system when activated. So we can go here to settings, and with the rate list on, I will have new function in my finances tab, rate lists. You can see here that I have here my old wage list and or price list. So eventually these new rate lists will replace all of these. If we go inside the rate list part, you can see multiple tabs here on the top. First is the wage list. So these are all my rates I'm using to pay my staff for their work. As you can see, this is a big change also, that you can have multiple wage lists and you can pick them when you are creating the job or create for a certain company. So you can use them as you need. Then I have a second tab for price list. So that's the prices, what I charge to my clients for work of my staff members. And then the same wage list and price list I have for transport. That's also a huge change because until now, you had one transport rates for all across the system. And this new rate list will allow you to set different transport rates for other occasions. So both wage list and price list in the transport as well can be here. Another tab are my units. Here I am managing my night hours, weekend hours, bank holiday bonuses, and other custom interval times. And in the last tab, we have a components. I was mentioning that you can title the rates with your own custom name and your own custom code for API integrations. So everything is clear for you and your colleagues, and also staff members and clients. This is a basic overview of this page. Let's go back to the wage list now. Here you can see I have 4 wage lists, and I would like to just for a moment here show you the statuses. So you can see that I have my active rate list here. This is my default, so I can set my default for the whole system. And I have archived a wage list, so I am not using this anymore, but I don't have to delete it. It can be deleted, so it will be archived, so I always can check what was there in the past. And let's create a new rate list together. So we'll go here and add a new rate list. Let's title it my wages. You can have here on many places with this function, you have descriptions. So you always can write your internal note so everyone is understanding what means what and which rate list should be used when. Another new thing would be the time period. You will be able to set the rates, the rate list for some time. So you can frame the time when you want to use this rate list. That would be very handy when you, for example, in October, want to plan already January rates. You don't have to plan when to do it. You can just create a rate list and you can just start using it when you need. Then here you will have a company settings. So you can decide with each rate list, price list, and also wage list, if it's available for all the companies that you are providing services for, or if it's limited only to some companies, and if they should be default for some companies, so they will be always pre-filled when you are creating the job for that company. And if you scroll here a bit down, here is where the magic happens. Here you are creating your rules. So let's add a first rule. So this is the line you saw in the slide just a while ago. And this is our first rule. So let's first create a first rule for my first condition. If we expand the offer condition, the condition is the if, and it works as a gatekeeper. So if this condition is met, then something happens. There are 2 main types of conditions. First are related to, let's say, the schedule and attendance. So what profession is this position for? Is it the role, staff member or leader? How the shift is long, how the attendance is long? And the second group of conditions are staff related. So me, who I'm working on the shift. Is it rating? Do I have some badge? You can also, with this rate list, pay or charge different, pay differently staff members based on their contract, based on their height, if you want. So all the conditions can be used. And let's try simple. Let's pick the profession, because that's usually the base we will start with. So I'm picking the condition profession, and I can choose the profession. So I can choose either just one, or I can choose more. And that's very handy when you have 10 professions in your system to separate the staff members and to create a schedule for, but you are charging or paying the same. You don't have to enter it one by one for each profession. You can pick more professions that should have the same rate. So I will here pick hostess and promoter. And I proceed next to the unit. So if we expand this unit offer, we have here work hours. That's the base system. Then basically multiply work hours by some rate and add the final rate. Or you can set the flat that also you already know. So that's the fixed amount regardless of number of hours that are worked. And there are a couple of new things. For example, we're not setting this up now, but it will be here available. With this new rate list system, you can treat overtime hours differently. So if client orders 10 hours, there can be some rate for this plan. And if the work goes beyond planned and staff members are there longer, you can treat these extra hours as overtime and charge and pay them differently. And then there's the option for your custom units that we will use for nights, weekends, or bank holidays. In my sample, I will go with the work hours because I want to calculate the work hours. And because I am not paying just for 1 hour, so if the staff member works 1 hour, they don't get paid 1 hour, I have some minimum call, which will be easily settable here in this section, minimum hours, where I can pick how many hours are my minimum. So let's say 4. So I set just now my unit work hours. And I can proceed to the third element of the rule, which is hour rate. So that's the financial value. I will put here, let's say 13 per hour. So if the profession is hostess or promoter, for every work hour, but no less than 4 hours, I am telling the system to calculate the 13-hour rate. And now the last line, it's a component. And as I mentioned, component, it's like a label. So if this condition is met and some final amount is calculated, how do I want to call it? How do I want the clients to see it on the calculations, staff members in their account, how it should look in my export? So let's add a new component. And for example, I will be calling it standard rate. So I will add the name. Then I can add a code that's for the API. So it should be something more for the machines. And again, you can add a description here. And let's confirm it. And we have our first rule. So if the profession is hostess or promoter, for every work hour, I want the system to calculate it based on this hour rate. And I want it to everywhere call it standard rate. So that's my first rule. But it's not enough. I have another condition. So for example, if there's a hostess and promoter and the person is also leader on the shift, I want to give them something more. So I can add more rules to this wage list. And for that, I will go here and add a nested rule because you can combine the rules together. You can see I have a new line. And similarly as before, I choose the profession. I will choose the role. And in offer of the role, I will choose a leader. So if the role of the shift of the position is leader, then I want to add, for example, a flat rate. And it will be 20 per the attendance. And how do I want to call it? I want to make it maybe different against the, or next to the standard rate. So I will call it, let's say, lead bonus. I have already here some of the components prepared in my demo, so you can see that I can type any title I'm using. So let's add the lead bonus. So that's my second rule. And for example, we will add another one here for new profession. So I have here my hostesses and promoters, and if there are leaders. Here on this, in the end of the line, in the end of the rule, under these 3 dots, you, for instance, can also name the rate, the rule, or set of the rules. So it's visually navigating you where you are. And I will here add another profession, let's say security guards, just so we have something. I will go ahead again with the work hours, and this time it will be 15. And let's call it again standard rate, because that's fine for me. I will also here add the name again. Security guards. So basically, I can have within one wage list I'm using set of rules for professions, for contract types, for senior workers. So if you are using ratings or badges now with this new rate list can be used, it will be everything in one place. Now, what I would like to also do with you is to create one custom rule, because that's very powerful. As you can see, we have work hours, we have some flat, and the most common unit, I think, that all of you or almost all of you are using is a night rate or night bonus. So for example, I want to add 10% of the base to staff members if they are working somehow during the night hours. So I need to tell the system what does it mean and how to do it. So I will go here and add the new rule. And in this case, the condition is not here. There is no night. There is no option to do it. I want always to apply it, because I want the system always to check, please system, check, is this work done during the night? Check it for me, and if yes, then apply some bonus. So it will always apply. And where do I set the night? I'm setting it up here in this units. So it's not work hours, it's not plan hours, it's not flat, it's something custom. So I will add it here. You can see that here I already have some night, but I can create more nights. So that's handy, for example, when you have different clients have the night hours differently, you can create more nights if you want. So let's add a custom unit. And let's call it my night. Here in this custom units, you will be able to choose the, let's say, the custom interval times, such as national holidays, weekly overtime if you are paying to staff members, or number of hours worked. That's great when you want to create like hours gaps. In our case, we will go to time range, because we want to now tell the system what does it mean night. So I will click here on the first Monday, and in the end of the line, I will specify what does it mean night. And in my case, for example, it's from midnight till 6. So that's my night. And it applies through the whole week. So let's here click on apply to first to all. And I'm now telling the system, these are my night hours. If we save it, you can see that my custom unit is now added here. So I have it set. And now the remaining thing is to tell the system how much it is. So I can again choose if it's something by hour, but I want to do % of standard rate, and let's say 10. So I wanted the system to take a look at the standard rate the staff members are earning and add the night bonus. And I will call it a night. So that's really the basic wage list. And now let's take a look at our calculator that will be located here on the bottom right corner. And it's a very advanced, complex calculator that you can use to check if the rates are set correctly. and how they are combined. So let's do, for instance, profession hostess, if it's a staff member. And let's do it 10 hours. So it's good for calculating. And let's calculate. And now we can see here on the right side what system calculates. And in the tree, in the rule list, it will highlight what is applied. So since it's a profession hostess, it checked the rules, and this is the rate that we applied. Now, if the hostess is also leader, let's switch it here in the calculator and check. You can see now 2 lines are applied, and there is a lead bonus because the system is checking all the rules and is checking if the conditions are met or not. And let's move, for instance, the shift more towards the evening so we can check the night. So let's do it. So it's from 5 till 3 in the morning. And since I tell the system my night hours are from midnight till 6, the system automatically calculates 3 hours as a night. So you can see that the final rate can consist of many individual rates that are coming from these rules. When the system is checking the rates, you can imagine it also as like a water. So when I'm using this wage list, then the system opens the wage list and check what's there. If the profession is hostess, yes, then it proceeds with applicating the hour rate. And it also checks if the role is leader or not. And if yes, it adds the bonus. If the profession is not hostess, all this is completely skipped, and the system proceeds with checking the other rules. So then it scans through the whole rate list and apply only what should be based on the conditions. And if we are ready, we can publish our first wage list. And they are here now ready to be used. Now you can also see in this line one column that's revisions, and that's also a new thing because with this new rate list, the system will save all the previous version of the rate list you had in the past, and you can see how they were. So, for instance, my basic wages for this year, 2026, I already have 13 version of it, and if we click on that, you can see exactly when the rate list was modified, who did it, and if you want to check it, let me see what was the version in December. You can click on it, and the system will show it to you in a read-only mode because it's really old and it's just old version. But you can here see this is how my rates looked before. So that's a great thing for checking what was done. And also a great thing would be that if you are creating a new rate list, of course, you can go here and add a new one, create a rate list from scratch. But for instance, if I go here and I will show you my 2026. You can see on the top that this is my default in my system. And this is the example how, for example, the wage list can look. And you can see that I have it grouped. These are my rates for crew. These are my rates for promoters and hostess. And here I have some weekend and bank holiday bonuses. And on the here top right corner, if I unfold all, I can see which other conditions I have in the, for example, for the crew members and for the promoters. And if this is my logic, basically for every year, and I just want to change the rate, you will not have to, you will be able to copy the whole list, the whole structure, and just change the rates. So it will be very powerful. And that's basically how we created this new wages. One thing is also the changes. So let's go back to my sample wages here. I have here, for instance, that if the profession is crew, I am paying hourly 13. And let's say now I decide to raise it to 14. If I update this wage list, the system will now check and tell me that I'm using this wage list for some of the jobs that are open. And it asks me if I want to recalculate all of them or not. Currently, I have just one job and one shift, but there can be much more, and you can always decide this position should be migrated to the new rate list. This job should stay under the old one. So you can always decide with every update if it should update also the existing open project as well. And let's confirm. So this is basically the settings part. And now we have a couple of our rate lists set, and we can take a look at how the jobs will be created. So let's close the settings and let's go to create a new job. Now, since I have the rate list active, I have here new toggle button that most of you don't see, and that's the option to use new rate list or not. So let's create some concert. So that's good for the transition period, that you will be able to say, with this project, I'm trying and I'm testing it and I will use the new rate list, or I will just toggle it and I will use the old one, so old wages and old prices. In this case, I want to use my defaults, that's fine. And let's create just one sample shift. We can move it maybe towards the evening somehow. Let's say. Let's add some location and let's keep one staff leader and one regular staff member. And also I would like to add here a transport. So let's add the transport so I can show you how it looks also with the transporting part. Let's apply our meet location and add some rates. And here you can see that within the transport, I can decide which wage list and which transport price list I'm using. So you can decide always on this level what should be used. And let's publish our sample shift. We don't need to add any extra things here. And if we go inside the job, we will allocate one staff member as this leader. So I have here my sample crew member Colby. So let's add him. And now we will log in as this person because the crew members, the staff members will also see the breakdown of these rates. So it's clear also not only to you in your exports and all calculations, but also to staff members. So if you log in as this person, and this is my agenda, this is my planned concert. And here I can see the estimated wage I will earn. And if the staff member click on the detail, they will see a breakdown of this wage. So this is, there are a lot of conditions because I have a base, I work 10 hours. I am a lead, I got some bonus. I also get special bonus for the badge, because with this new rate list, you will also be able to add badges as requirements as a conditions for the rates. That will be very handy if you feel that you don't have enough flexibility to treat and pay differently staff members within individual professions. So for instance, I can be great waiting staff and I should get the highest rate possible, but I am junior in the barman. So you can mark staff members with badges, and these badges can be now tied to different rates. So that's what was set in this rate list, where the Colby is the senior one and he gets something more. Also, since it's Easter Friday, I got some bonus for bank holidays. I work partially during the night and during the weekend. So the staff member here can see exactly how much they're going to earn or estimate and what is the part of it. And there's also transport. So here they can also see how much they're getting for the transport. Now, if we go back to the admin part. Now let's take a look at how we will edit. So we created the rate list, that's working. We created a new job with that. We check how the staff members can see it, for example, and now we need to do edits. So we will go right from this page to our concert. And let's go to a builder. And similarly, as you are used to with updating the price list, you can update and you can change the wage list or price list on level of job. So if we go on the job level, here on the right side, I have option to switch price list and wage list. That's handy when you make a mistake or when something's changed or when you forgot to update automatically. Of the rates that are applied. But you will be also able to change the rate list on the position level. So I can go here to this position of shift leader. And in the prices tab, I can switch and change the rate list just for the specific position. That can be handy when, for example, you have load-in and load-outs with different set of wages, and then the show days you want to have different rates. This will allow you to do it. So that's how you can make the changes. And big changes are coming also to the closing form. So let's go right away here in the left section to shifts that are pending to be closed. And I have prepared here some samples. So let's go close it. Now, the first part of the closing form is not changing. You will enter, as you are used to, the attendance hours or transport attendance as well. And if you go to the next part, now the system calculates the final rates based on our new rate lists. First, let's take a look at these eye icons. So let's take a look at Colby and his rate structure. Now you can see these lines are my components. So if you remember when I was titling the rules and the components, how they should be called, these are these component names. And I have here also the summary of the price and wage and my margin. And if I expand the detail, I can see exactly price, 10 hour, and this is the hourly rate, wage, 10 hour, and this is the hourly rate. And for example, batch bonus, if we expand here, I am adding on the top of the wage because the call base is senior and he's getting something more, but batch is not conditioned for price. So there is a 0. So here we will see complete breakdown of the rate. What will also change is the option to override here the values. So even that the rate list will be so flexible, then you can have as many as you need to cover all the needs. Sometimes still, you just want to change something this one time manually. And you will be able to override it here in the closing form. So if you click on the wage, now that's a change comparing to what is now, because now in the closing form, you can rewrite the wage, but you're rewriting the final number and you don't have no longer information that it consists of base, that it's consisting of tag or effect. And now you can rewrite just this one specific case. So if I would with Colby say, okay, so this case, I'm again adding you 1 per hour more, I can rewrite it here. And the same I can do with the price. That's also a great change, that you can change the price details here as well. Columns, penalties, and bonuses are not changing with this new rate list, but the tags are. I was mentioning in the beginning that the tags will change a bit. In this closing form, you can see I have applied my tag, and it's adding both price and wage to one position. The tag is called driver with own car supplement. And in the settings of tag, I said that it's adding 170 to staff member. But even now I can change it. I can decide, I know that my rules are 100, but in this very case, let's do it less, or more. So I can change it here. So this is a great power in the closing form that you can do. You can rewrite the rates to make the changes while keeping the structure in the exports, in the APIs, and everywhere the same. And when we are ready, let's close the shift. And now the staff members, in the history of their shift, they would see also the same breakdown, only changed according to reality how the shift was closed. Since now we have the shift closed and we have some records in the history, we can go here in the finances in wallet transactions. So the rates are added here, as you are used to. With the new rate list active, there will be also new exports that's currently in process. There will be new enhanced export that will include the component names, the codes, and it will be also customizable, as you are used to with every export. You can pick what you want to have there. It will be available with all the updated exports. One specific export I wanted to also show you when we go to our sample order. Let's find something here. Oh, for example, this one. I will show you the example of this export attendance detail, where are all the wages and prices that are applied to attendance within this order. Let me just reshare. So this is the CSV export I got from this page. As you can see, it includes all the important information about this project. This export will be also customizable in the future, but I wanted to show you the new columns that are here. So you will here have information about the code, about the component name, what was the rate, and what's the unit we are using. So that's great for your reports and further payroll or accounting work that is done outside of OnSinch. So similarly, it would be in the API endpoints. Yeah. So the code I was mentioning will be also there. And let's go back to our demo. And one of the last things I want to mention is the tags. I already touched this topic a bit, so let's go back for a while to settings. So the tags, I mentioned that they will change. They will. They will stay in the same section, so they will still be in the work and tags. But the way how they are set will be a bit different. So let's add here a new tag. And let's call it 20% last minute, for example. If you scroll a bit down, you will see different view on the prices and wages for this tag. And it's very similar to the ratelist builder. You will add a rule. Of course, there will be not the conditions that are related to staff member or the shift schedule. You will be able to choose flat rate, that's what I'm used to from the tag, or worked hours. So add something based on the work hours on this on the shift where the tag is used, or the percentage of total that also was there in the tags. But now you will be able to use your custom units here as well. That will be handy when, for instance, you don't want to charge the night hours always automatically. You want to be able to choose within each position, let's say, but you want to use the logic, what is the night? So from midnight till 6. So you can use the custom units. In my example, I will just use the percentage. So I want to create a tag that when I use it will add 20% of the total final rate calculated, because it's a last minute job. And again, to have it well named in my exports, I will call it, let's say, I don't have any here, so I can add a new component. I can put here last minute. So that will be for the price. And for the wage, I might choose the same, or I can decide, and I can call it the same. And now I have again my tag. I have here already 10% and 20%. So this will also change with the tags. So they will stay in their own part, but they are more connected with the rate list and they are redesigned. Now that is end of my action in demo. Maybe before we jump into questions we might have from the attendees here, I will just maybe share with you information what's the current status of this feature. So the feature is active. We are still working on it. We are now at the moment that we are polishing the exports, PDF calculations, which are not finished yet, the data structure in the API. So now our focus is more on the outputs. And we are also creating the documentation. And at the same time, we are also adjusting, adding more things, tweaking design a little bit in some parts. So it's still a living thing. And if you'd be interested in migration, or if you want to talk about your specific case and maybe plan, you can get in touch with us, of course, and we will set up a, let's say, short introduction meeting to take a look at your case, because as I was mentioning, the transition it's a big thing, but it's not only about setting new system and setting new feature, but it's a great opportunity to talk about what problems you are having with the rates, or maybe you want to implement some changes that with this new rates, it will be allowed. So we can work out together the best solution and plan it when what should happen in regards with your time availability and also our team availability, because we want to make sure that we have enough support resources to dedicate so the transition and everything is as smooth as possible. As I was mentioning, there will be a long period where the both system will be working alongside, so we can plan it so it works the best. So that was all for me. Thank you for your attention. And I'm excited to launch at some point in the future Ratelist in all of your OnSinches together. And of course, if you want to discuss it more, if you're interested in some details, or if you want to transition soon or something, just connect with us and we will see what we can do and how to plan it.